Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Allincrypto here, and today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP and how they are going to be a key player in the new financial system that we are moving towards. I've been listening a lot to David Schwartz recently, and he is nothing short of a genius. We are going to be getting into a number of things in this video. We're going to be looking at the XRP chart, and I'm going to be telling you guys what I think is to come. We're going to start the video off talking about just how transformative this space actually is. So what is the space I'm talking about? Of course, crypto. The things that were spawned from Bitcoin are literally changing the entire world, not just finance, identity. Tokenization is going to be huge, and everything is going to be onboarded in the blockchain and everything in between. So in this video, we're going to be looking at XRP. We're going to be hearing from David Schwartz, really giving some alpha in regards to the capabilities of XRP. And many people will ask the questions, well, why would the institutions use the likes of Ripple services and XRP, which is a public blockchain, and why wouldn't they create their own? Well, David Schwartz also has an answer for that we'll look at, and then we'll finish things off on some price action. I want to start this video off by looking at a clip from Salt iConnections New York that essentially talk regularly. They have great panels about crypto and its transformative nature. And I want to just play the opening statements from this panel before we move on to a David Schwartz or a couple of David Schwartz clips. One is a audio clip. The other one is, of course, David Schwartz himself talking about the possibilities of XRP and what Ripple are offering.
Here to talk about the digital asset infrastructure and how it's fixing Wall Street. Like it or not, finance is being changed and digitally transformed by the disruption of the status quo. We've seen a substantial shift in the financial sector. Traditional banking and financial systems are being disrupted by digital innovations. A lot of it thanks to many of you guys here on the panel today, and is shaping a new landscape that is meant to be more accessible, efficient, and transparent.
It was truly a fascinating debate, but the reason that I kind of shared that was because this technology is literally transforming everything. And actually Ripple, despite the SEC lawsuit and everything that's gone on, have been going from strength to strength and partner to partner. These guys are partnered with some of the largest financial institutions in the world, and they are all looking to implement XRP, Ripple's corridors, R3, all of this kind of stuff. I see it crop up time and time again, and we'll do a video where we sort of add the dots together, if you will. I want to go on and now, before we get into some price analysis, play a clip of David Schwartz himself actually talking about XRP and its capabilities, because it is truly revolutionary and astonishing. Let's get into that.
We have the technology to allow every financial institution on the planet to settle with every other financial institution in a compatible jurisdiction in any asset in seconds for less than a penny. Just think about this. Anyone who's made a payment knows that we're nowhere near that today. But imagine every financial institution settling with every other financial institution in seconds for less than a penny, any asset. That's fundamentally transformative. We have the technology to do it. Now we just need to figure out how to drive the adoption. And of course, there's all the challenges with there's incumbents, there's regulation, there's inertia. There's the big players who are really trying to defend. If you're one of the largest banks in the world, you want to push pause or stop on technology because you're in the lead. So of course, you say you love technology, but obviously you wish you could stop it. So we have the technology to allow.
They have it from the horse's mouth. David Schwartz, or Satoshi, as some people think he is. Now, I don't think David Schwartz is Satoshi, or he's part of a collective that's Satoshi. I know there's a lot of rumors about that. But I do think he's one of the brightest minds in the crypto space. And I think he knows what they're working with XRP. There was a recent Twitter space that was clipped and posted by Burning Stars, where David Schwartz actually talks about, and this is a really big question, why would institutions use blockchains like XRP? Why wouldn't they just create their own? Well, David Schwartz has an answer for this, and it is a damn good one, as you would expect. Let's play the clip, and then we'll finish things off with some price analysis.
Do you believe that there can be two existing world reserve currencies to simultaneously exist?
I do, and I think that could happen. I think it's quite realistic that a lot of the world is just done with the dollar as the reserve currency. And I think that there's a lot of places that are willing to try something else. And one of my scenarios, and I don't think it's going to play out quickly, but like one of my wild case success scenarios for a digital asset is if countries start to realize that the US dollar is not going to be the reserve currency forever. Other things are going to be the reserve currency. And the same thing that we saw with banks, like people, when we started selling software to banks, people would say to me, why would a bank use something that like you guys were selling them when they could use something that was like made by banks? And what they didn't realize is that, only like 10 banks in the country, on the planet, are Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan Chase, like the ones who would build a system that the entire planet would run on. For the rest of the banks, that's 6,000 smaller banks, those are their biggest, strongest competitors. Those are the entities they hate the most. They would not want to use the system built and maintained by them because it's going to be biased in favor of them, their biggest and strongest competitors. And I think the same thing could happen to nations. Like every nation would love for their currency to be the world reserve currency. That's helped the U.S., that's grown the U.S. economy, quote unquote, unfairly by leaps and bounds for decades. And every other country would be like, yeah, we'd like to have the world be the world's reserve currency. But the only countries that could possibly pull it off is the U.S. holding its position, maybe the EU, maybe Russia, maybe one or two others. But realistically, most countries know that if there's going to be a new world reserve currency that's a country's currency, it's not going to be them. And so they might actually prefer a currency that nobody can control to one that's controlled by their largest geopolitical rivals. And so that's like what I think is the biggest possible success scenario for digital assets. If these countries are like, okay, well, the US dollar can't hold on forever, but it's not going to be our currency because no one's going to want to repeat the US dollar scenario. Nobody but the EU wants the EU to replace the dollar, right? Nobody but Russia wants the ruble to replace the dollar. Nobody but China wants the yuan to replace the dollar. So maybe they could settle on a currency that nobody could control rather than one controlled by their most powerful geopolitical rival. So if you want a success scenario, that's the one that I think is the most likely.
But the money question is, how do you get everybody to agree?
Well, I mean, they might agree if the alternative is that their geopolitical rivals force some new replacement for the dollar that's not, if they just replace, the old boss with a new boss. If the choice is no boss, if that happens to make a bunch of cryptocurrency people rich, I don't think they're going to see that as too much of a minus.
It is truly a bright mind. And actually, this Bitcoin is, we've almost said it's like divine intervention with when it came about, just at the kind of tipping point of the traditional financial system in 2008. And then it's been on its kind of what we would say last legs. Now, whether it just morphs into something else or not is still to be seen. But there's a lot going on geopolitically, and crypto has come about at the right time. And certainly something like XRP that can facilitate something like a new currency to a degree, to the orders of magnitude more efficiently than what we've currently got, is certainly a proposition that I think is interesting. In regards to XRP's price, we've said this, we've said it again, we said it before this little pop here. This will play out again, ladies and gentlemen. You've had your initial breakout. If we drop down to the daily, you can see it a lot more clearly. You break out, you come back, and then you're off. That will happen again, in my opinion, and you will see, not in terms of similar in regards to percentages, but a similar kind of move and playing out of XRP. I think the SEC lawsuit could have basically just been a stalling, a kind of, what would you say, inside job almost, for actually what is becoming quite apparent, and that is that XRP is going to play a big role in the kind of crypto boom And we already know that most large institutions and agencies are looking to integrate and use crypto, certainly the financial ones, and actually XRP has already partnered with many of them. So I do think something like this is going to happen again. Very interesting how these structures, this one and this one, are very similar. That is just my opinion. It's not financial advice. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Let me know your thoughts. If you're not already a subscriber, please do consider becoming a subscriber. A like and a comment is always appreciated. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next.